Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Reishandy Valiansa and we're from Group 6 and we would like to present our findings about methods in English teaching in English language teachings, especially in enhancing students' speaking skill. But before we get started, let me go through the overview on what we're going to discuss, what we're going to present in this presentation. Next. So for the overview, we're going to talk about the introduction of the method, um, um, also method in the overview, and then techniques in CLT for enhancing speaking skills, and then the core principles of this method, stages in this method application, also the advantages and disadvantages, preparation tips, sample activities, and then we would like to conclude the presentation at the end of this presentation. Next. So here are our group members. There is Mochammad Nur'Aziz, me, Reishandy Valiansa, Audya Kedhaton, Ninda Khoerunnisa Gusnandar, Kasilda Mubarak, and Rizki Al Asy'ari. Next. Now let's go to the method overview. So for this skill, for this speaking skill, we chose communicative language teaching. So this method, by definition, is a method of teaching that uh, focuses on interactions as the tool of language learning. So it focuses on increasing students' communicative skills and including how to use language or how to use English in real life situations. Now, this method can be used if a teacher feels like there's a need for them to uh, teach in a more engaging ways or fun ways, so that uh, the class won't be monotonous or uh, just like a traditional method. So this, because traditional methods can be monotonous, and of course, it could lead to less effectiveness in class. So next. So for the techniques, we have several examples here that teachers can use. The first one is role playings, where students can engage in a conversations that's based on real life situations. Uh, because this way, students can practice the language in a more fun way. And then the second one, there's group discussion, group projects, where students can work in groups and do speaking-based activities such as content creating, which can encourage them to communicate and be surrounded with the language, especially English. And this can help them with uh, improving their speaking skills. And for the last one, there is group discussions. So these are activities like forum group discussions or any other discussion-based activities where students are required to use English to discuss and solve the problem. So not only this can improve their fluency, but this can also increase their participation, active participation in class. Next. Moving on to the who can use this method. So we believe that this method can be used, can be applied to students from different educational level, starting from elementary school to high schools. Also, it depends on the techniques that this method is used, because if it uses role playing, for example, this can be used for students at any grade. But if it's like forum group discussions or group projects, we believe that this can be applied to students with higher educational level. For example, high school students or junior high school students. As long as the students are EFL learners, we believe that this method can be effective so that they can be prepared for real life situations. If they have ever encountered foreigners and have to use the language. Next. So moving on to the principles of the methods, I would like to give Ninda the opportunity to explain about the principles of this method.
Okay, I would like to explain about the principles of the method. The first is this method emphasizes learning through interaction in the language. It enhances real-life communication skills. For CLT, focus on learning through interactions. This means that the main way student learns is by actually using the language in real life conversation or daily life conversations. It's not just about memorizing the grammatical rules, but using the language in a real life conversation and doing the speaking like just in real life conversations. So it enhance real life communication skill. This means the goal is to help students become more confident and more fluent when speaking. So they can use English in daily life, like when they are traveling, socializing, working, and etc. The next is this method focus on the student experiences and encourage their active participation or student-centered. So CLT is student-centered. This means the teacher's job is to help the student be more active in learning activities. And then instead of the teacher talking all of the time, talking a lot in front of the student, in front of the class, the student do most of doing the speaking and practicing in the class or during the teaching and learning process. And the teacher roles is just to guide them and help them when they don't understand about the material or they are cannot doing the speaking well, and make sure everyone can get involved. Finally, the teacher acts as a facilitator. This means instead of giving all of the answer, all of the material in the class that I just mentioned before, the teacher's role is to encourage students to figure things out from themselves. This makes learning more interactive and fun, of course. Um, as the teacher just doesn't just teaching or lecture, but helps students explore and use the language on their own. That's all from me. The next material will be explained by Rizki Al Asy'ari.
Okay, thank you, Reishandy Valiansa and Ninda, for the opportunity for giving me to speak up. So, the stage of this method is actually there's three. The first one is preparation and warming up. So, the teacher should prepare authentic material and set up activities that encourage student interaction, and ensuring they align with the lesson language goals. Setting up activities that foster interaction can help students ease into lesson and activate their prior knowledge. For instance, a warm-up activity might include a brief discussion on a topic that relates to student experience or a language game that introduces a key vocabulary and concept. This can create a comfortable learning environment and prime student for active participation. And the second one is core activity. The main activity should involve tests that require students to use language communicatively. So the central portion of the lesson should feature a test that encourages students to use target language in communicative and meaningful way. Example of core activities might include role play that simulate real-life scenarios, group discussion on relevant topics, or problem-solving test that prompt students to negotiate or express their thought. These activities a structured yet flexible way for students to practice language in a context similar to everyday interaction, building confidence and fluency through practical application. And then the last one is warming down activities. Conclude with a reflective activity where a student can discuss what they learned and how they can apply it outside the classroom. The lesson should conclude with a reflective activity that allows students to process what they learn and consider ways to apply it beyond the classroom. This reflective stage could involve the students sharing personal experience that's connect with the day's topic, discussing any challenge they encountered, or summarizing key points of the lesson. These steps helps reinforce learning by making it more personally meaningful, ensuring students ensuring the student leave the lesson with a clear sense of how their new skills can benefit them in real life situation. So I think that's all from me. So let's move on to the next topic.
Okay. The advantages is this method enhances students' fluency in spoken English by focusing on communication more than accuracy. It means helping students more comfortable in speaking English rather than emphasize perfect grammar and accuracy. The focus is encouraging students communicate effectively and confidently. The second, this approach increases students' engagement and motivation through interactive activities. The third is this method also develops other language skills, such as listening, grammar, and vocabulary. It provides a well-rounded language education, touching on multiple aspects of language learning. Next is disadvantages. It can be challenging for teachers to monitor and assess each student's language use, especially in large classes. The second is the effectiveness of CLT depends on teachers' ability to create motivating and engaging lessons. The success of CLT is tied to how well the teachers can keep students engaged and excited. The third is there is a possibility that language accuracy and grammar might be overlooked during the process. It means there might be less emphasis on ensuring their speech is grammatically perfect or accurate. The grammatical rules are not strictly enforced. There are also challenges of CLT. The first is difficulties in monitoring and assessing each student's performance. It's hard to keep track of and evaluate how well each student is doing. The second depends on teachers' ability to create engaging lessons. This method relies heavily on the teacher's skill to make lessons interesting and engaging. The third, risk of focusing and fluency over accuracy. There's a potential risk of prioritizing smooth speaking over correct grammar and accuracy. Next will be bring by Mochammad.
So the next is preparation. There are three things that we should prepare as a teacher. The first one is choose materials that are relevant and engaging for the students. The second is plan interactive activities that promote communication and require students to use the language in meaningful. And the third is create a classroom atmosphere that values communication over perfection. Next. So the example of warming up activity. The first one is emotion cards activity. Teachers can use emotion cards activities such as happy or confused to give to students and ask them to introduce themselves with the emotion cards that they have. This allows students practice expressing feeling and responding appropriately, which can make their role-play interaction more realistic. The second is positive vibe activity. So teachers can also use activity called a positive vibe activities to warm up to help students get into an optimistic state of mind. Start the lesson with the usual "How are you?" question and then ask all students to stand up and explain the task, which to finish the sentence like "It's a good day today because blah blah blah," and accompany it with a wave sending gestures. Then the students can sit down only after they find something positive in their life. Thank you.
Okay, in the core activity, so in this core activity, the teacher could introduce a role-play scenario that is clear and relevant to student life, such as a job interview, a shopping experience, or a travel booking. The teachers provide role card or script to guide students and explain new vocabulary or phrases that might be useful in the scenario. And the teacher then monitors the activity, observing student interaction and providing feedback when needed. Okay, next. In the warming down, after the role play activity, the teacher can lead a discussion on reflection, where students share their experiences from the role play. The teacher can ask questions such as what was challenging or what new word did you learn? And this helps students consolidate what they have practiced and encourage them to think about how they can use this expression in real situation outside the classroom.
So before we concluded, I would like to add something about the warming down activity. So after the role play activity, the teacher can facilitate a discussion in which students share their experience and insight from the role play. This allows them to process the activity and deepen their understanding. The teacher might ask targeted questions like, what aspect of the role play did you find challenging, or what new word or phrases did you learn? This question helps students identify the specific language elements they encountered, promoting better retention. Additionally, the discussion can encourage students to think critically about the practical application of their new language skills, motivating them to use this expression in authentic contexts outside the classroom, such as in conversation with friends, family, or even while traveling. So that's all I want to add from the warming down activity. Let's give it to back to Reishandy Valiansa for the conclusion. Reishandy, please.
All right, thank you. So, in conclusion, communicative language teaching, or CLT, is effective for improving students' English speaking skill by focusing on real life situations. Also, by incorporating interactive activities like role playing and group discussions. This method can boost students' engagement and motivations. Also, it makes learning more dynamic and fun. While it does present some challenges, such as also you have to monitor some individuals in progress because the class is quite large. Occasionally, placing less emphasis on grammar accuracy, CLT equips both ESL and EFL learners with practical language skills for real-world situations. But overall, we thought that it's an impactful method for building fluency and also confidence in speaking. So that wraps up the end of our presentations. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.